Let's press play.
This is Zarah Sultana, MP, of course, for your party. Was a Labour MP for Coventry South, then an independent, now in your party, which is fresh from its conference. She's going to be taking some of your calls leading up to the top of the hour. So if you've got any questions, 0345 60 60 973, call now and we'll put you in the queue. First of all, I'm going to talk to Zarah for 5 minutes myself and abuse my position as host of the show. Zarah, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Been a bit of a few weeks.
It's been quiet. Don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, well, starting a new party is no small thing. And I think it's fair to say, right, and I'm sure you'll be the first to admit, there are some growing pains. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Over the past few weeks, there have definitely been difficult moments. Me and Jeremy haven't set up a political party before. We haven't designed it.
There have been difficult moments, people. Difficult moments. I have so much I want to say about this interview. I've already heard it, mostly. So let's watch. I will stop at parts to chime in.
It's structured from scratch, and at the heart of all of this has been
there is that kind of now repetitive line that we're hearing, oh, we've not set this up before, there's no handbook. But you're in politics and you should know comms, and you're proposing something vastly different to what the majority of people have come to expect from their political parties. You're sort of formulating this truly democratic approach with your members, your representation. However, you should know comms and you should know how the game works, and you should figure out how to appreciate that, and then communicate, conduct yourselves accordingly to bring people along with you for this journey of setting up a democratic party. But what you're doing is you're bringing them along with all of the sort of disagreements, the conflict, the sort of not being on the same page, which of course, it's part and parcel of setting up a coalition or any kind of a group that has sort of competing interests and perhaps competing players. But you know the comms game, and you know how politics works, and you know what you've got to do to win members, win votes, and compete with others, right? So why are you doing this sort of almost student politics thing and expecting people to give you the benefit of the doubt, expecting people to say, oh, it's okay, it's Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana and everyone else, we're with you still. It's quite complacent. Let's continue.
The aim of building a party that has maximum member democracy, that our members run the party. It's not a top-down machine like the Labour Party, like others, where decisions are made at the top and everyone else just has to follow orders.
But you're actually giving the impression, Zara, and you have done on more than one occasion, that it's actually resembling that. You described it as a boys' club. You even later, sort of actually just coming up in this interview, mentioned how they're not taking on your ideas, or your ideas aren't being taken on. So you're already giving this impression of a hierarchy.
About building a party that is truly democratic.
How is your relationship with Jeremy Corbyn?
It's good. I saw him in Parliament last week and we managed to, have a quick few words, but...
This is meant to be really exciting. You've just had your conference. You're supposed to be healing from the disagreements. You're supposed to be healing from the infighting and all the sort of bad sort of comms judgment, right? You're supposed to be healing from all of that. Yes, we speak daily. No, instead of that, it's, yes, bumped into him in Parliament and the odd WhatsApp. This is not inspiring confidence. And I don't know on whose planet they think this would inspire confidence. Do you think Nigel Farage and Zia Youssef are going on sort of various sort of media outlets and saying, yeah, occasionally we speak, have a lot of respect for him, and that's in it? It's not sufficient. One of the reasons why Reform is doing really well is that they know how to play the optics game. You should know how the optics game works. You should know this. You've been in politics for long enough. You know how the media works. You know how you have to do this thing together. It's almost, you know what this is? This is idealism in conflict with reality, like you're it's too radical. It's too maximalist. It's like, just, we understand you have values, we understand you have a vision, but for goodness sake, work within the system that you've got. Let's continue. Thank you for reacting. I appreciate it. And if you haven't already subbed, please do.
The nature of parliaments, we're running through lobbies, we've got so many events going on.
How much are you talking to him on a regular basis? I mean, you're both very senior in this party. You'd think you were speaking a lot.
We catch up on WhatsApp. When we see each other in person, we're able to speak, but it has...
You tell me, okay, you tell me. Everyone's got a WhatsApp group or whatever group you've got going on, right? My earbud's just fallen out. Everyone's got a WhatsApp group or some kind of group where you sort of barely participate because you don't want to, because you're just not into it. And this is what this sounds like. It's like, yeah, sort of, kind.
It's been very busy, and obviously we've just wrapped up from conference. Everyone's kind of winding down just before Christmas.
Been busy. That's what you say when you're trying to avoid someone. Oh, yeah, I'm busy, sorry, can't make it.
So it's been a busy few weeks.
Is it fair to say there have been political differences?
I think when people reduce it just to personalities,
But it is about personalities. Of course, people are going to reduce it to personalities. This is the comms game. This is politics. Do you think everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go to their new website to read their values? No, you're going to go look for the personas, what they're saying, what the latest line is, how they're responding, how they're reacting. They're going on to question time. What's their take on this? Of course, it's about personas. It's about having a leader. What I just can't grasp is, what is your actual vision? You're saying you want to be a credible option for government. A government currently in the system that we have has a prime minister, there's a leader. You must have one. Give people a vision of what this could be like. That's why Nigel Farage is doing well. That's why Zach Plansky's is doing well. It's because they are giving people a vision of a leader. Okay, even if Zach Plansky is saying that he might not be the leader once they're in government, still, you've got to inspire people. This is not inspirational.
I don't think that's accurate. I've always, from the outset, been pushing for a party that is led by its members.
I have always from the outset. Zara, I'm so sorry, but this is not your party. It's not your party, because you always tend to speak from what your vision was and how it's essentially not being realized in your party, which isn't actually your party.
Members, not MPs, and there are others who have been involved in this process that have had a very different vision, where it is very...
There are others who have been involved in this process who have a very different vision. This is not how you speak. Just don't do it. This is not student politics. This is not, you're not going to get, this is not your Instagram live. This is, you're trying to, this is about government. This is about governing. This is about governing. Inspire people, make them feel like you're legit. They don't care. Do you think the majority of voters who you're trying to get, right, care or understand, oh, but this is how democratic parties work, there's going to be all of this? They're going to compare you to existing parties, and if the existing party structure and parties and the way they're set up is broken and you're trying to fix it, you can't go all the way to the other extreme and just expect them to just take it. It's almost like they're used to paracetamol, but really I'm trying to give you like this leaf. Take the leaf. I know you want the pharmaceutical drug, but take the leaf, just sniff it, hold it by your solar plexus, and you'll feel just fine. No, bring them slowly in. You've got to do that.
Top down, led by members of parliament, and those debates and those teething issues have been about democracy ultimately.
It's been about differences of how the party should be run.
Absolutely, how the party is structured, how it's governed.
He wanted a single leadership model.
Absolutely, how it's structured, how... You see, there's like a whole laundry list. This is what, when Zach Plansky said, I'm not vegan. I'm sorry, I'm vegan, but it shouldn't matter. He won people over. He won people over. Okay? You can't go all the way super like, guys, I've not shaved my armpits and I don't waste water, so I don't have a wash, and I haven't washed my hair in 6 months. Did you know it's self-cleaning? And then appear in the House of Commons as a viable alternative. People won't buy it. It's too much. Just when you're trying to launch something like this, you've got to consider the framework that currently exists. Okay, you can't just go all the way. This is, it's almost like, I think it's just naive. I had more words. Let's continue. I've barely gotten through this.
And you wanted
a collective leadership. Well, initially I was championing a co-leadership.
Yes.
Again, initially I was. You had ideas, you had visions, and perhaps they're all right, perhaps they're all correct, and they're the right ones. But even your language, how you describe it, what your experience has been, Zara, is giving this sort of constant sort of impression that it's just not gelling. Yet you're being really like hardcore, like, I'm not joining the Green Party, I want to stay with your party, which is admirable, I suppose, but it's just it's I mean, from a political career perspective, you've got to now stick with it.
Structure. Unfortunately, that wasn't put on the ballot paper for members to choose from. They were only presented with sole leader and collective leadership. And between the two, the most democratic out of those two options is collective leadership.
And so how's that going to work practically?
So on Monday evening, we should be getting the kind of rules around executive committee elections. There will be 26 positions. There are 4 that are reserved for public office holders, which I disagree with. I don't think there should be any that are reserved for public office holders, but those are the positions.
And it's completely, if what you're doing is trying to reflect how democratic parties operate and how there are disagreements and how you won't always see it the same way, that's fine. That's fine. But then you've got to prepare the PR, the comms around that. It's like, okay, so this is our round table, and we're going to talk about the sort of image and the comms for this. We've got to incorporate like what people are used to, give them those kinds of lines. We've also got to educate them and inform them on the new way of doing things. How are we going to do both? You can't just ignore what people are used to and just try and invent a whole new game. The current one is still in play.
Have been outlined, including reserve positions for Scotland and Wales and other sections, which I believe will be a women's section, our LGBT section, and other sections. Again, we will find out more information on Monday evening. Those elections will happen over the course of January.
I know you'll say that it's democratic, and obviously it is a different way of doing things from how other parties are doing it. But even like your answer there, it is quite confusing, isn't it?
It is. Do you know what? Democracy, internal party democracy, isn't everyone's cup of tea.
No, I think that's
But
fair.
having kind of a simple structure where it's just led by a few politicians at the top, and everyone else kind of has to listen to what they say and just, knock on doors, fundraise, and be treated like volunteers, I don't think that is the correct model. And so we're building something fundamentally different.
You did talk, though, during this process of a party or a sort of nascent party which was being characterised by bullying and witch hunts. So given that, how can you really turn to the public and say, support us? This is a party which is clearly still comprised of people, I would imagine, that you think involve people who are bullies and conducting witch hunts. Why should anyone support that?
Because we're fixing the problem. I think in politics, you have to be honest. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of that in general. And what I've been...
Oh, come on. What are you doing? Unfortunately, we don't have that. Sorry, can I just do a millennial thing? It's giving petty, okay? It really is. It's like, unfortunately, we don't have much of that side eye. Do you know how petty it's coming across? There's still discontent. You're still not satisfied. So why is it going to make anyone feel sort of confident to, it's not inspiring confidence, is it? All of these answers is just really frustrating me.
honest about is the problems, but we are fixing those issues to build an inclusive party that is diverse, that looks to the country and says...
But I don't buy it. How can you say, but we are fixing this? There's no we. Who's we? Because there's a they and there's a we now. It's like they aren't. doing this, I'm being ignored, etc., etc. But then we are fixing it. So who's the they and who's the we? And who is it who's causing all of this? Name them.
Says we understand that your lives have been made worse by consecutive governments. We have the worst living standards on record. People's energy bills are going through the roof.
Are there still bullies involved?
The incidents of bullying, and particularly the experiences that I've spoken about, and Jeremy and everyone involved is very, we're all focusing on moving forward and building a party that can actually win in elections and build power.
Some of the bullies are still involved in the party.
The systemic issues around the bullying, the legal threats, the Islamophobia, the sabotage, like before when I went on BBC Question Time, what happened before, all of those have to be addressed, and that's about a cultural difference. And
it's not just about cultural difference, though. This is your style of governance, then. This is your culture within your party. It's not as simple as there being a difference. Did you hear that entire list that Zara just gave? I mean, that's not a light list of issues. It's not like, so we're trying to figure out which website provider to use.
And recognising that some of these tactics have been taken straight out of the playbook of the Labour right, and that we cannot replicate the.
So it's the Labour right. It's those who represent the Labour right, or who were in the Labour right, who are involved. Like Labour
Party in any way, including that toxic culture.
Has Corbyn himself bullied you?
No, that is not what I've said.
I know, I'm just clarifying.
Jeremy is not the person that I hold responsible for the leaks.
Jeremy's not the person, but there is a person. You know, like, if people think there's a Voldemort, they're not going to feel safe at Hogwarts, okay? You're saying Voldemort. There's a Voldemort in your party. You're not naming them. This is not good.
That have happened for the sabotage, but there are people who have been involved in this process who have done that. Yes.
I'd be a Slytherin. You know, like at first everyone's like, "No, I'm going to be a Gryffindor." No, I'm Slytherin. But what she's saying is there's a Snape, McFoy. No, McFly was that band. McFay. Tell me in the comments. There's somebody who's Slytherin, who's Slytherin, okay, and they're close to Voldemort. You've got to name this. It just really makes people nervous, and it frustrates people like me, who are just sort of on the fence, not going to join any political party, and just going to watch this circus.
There's a suggestion that maybe the party, even though it's only just adopted it, I know I don't think you were in favour of it to begin with, but could be forced to drop the name Your Party because the Electoral Commission is saying it's reviewing a complaint against alleging the.
It's really unfortunate when you go for a temporary, like a holding name, and because you've taken so long with it and now people have just referred to you as Your Party for so long, you've just got to go with it. It's really unfortunate.
Party's name breached electoral law because it could cause voters to be misled while filling out their ballot paper.
I wasn't aware of that.
Are you committed to, this is in the Telegraph this morning, are you committed to the name?
The members have chosen Your Party. Obviously, I wanted it to be called the Left Party. Again, that wasn't put on the ballot paper. And the
sounds like your suggestions are being
dismissed, not even put on the ballot for members to choose, which is all very interesting.
Oh, God, you're being so petty. This is no good. How can you, from one side of your mouth, refer to issues in the party and then from the other side saying we're going to fix it? If you're going to fix it and you have it in hand, zip.
But the Left Party is still a viable option in the future. It is owned by Socialist Unity, who would give the name up for a party if our members chose it.
So you would still like to rename it?
I've embraced member democracy. The members have chosen Your Party. But in the future,
if this complaint were borne out,
if it's upheld, we would have to go back to the members.
The members are saying, please drop this. Let's just say the members are saying, please drop this. We need a viable alternative. We don't need all this infighting. So if you care about the members and if you care about democracy, if you care about the bigger picture, just shush. Just shush. Just stop. Unless you're leaving. Whoopsie. Unless you're leaving and it's a requirement now for you to speak up. Okay? Otherwise, all of this, you can sound all if you're when someone's having to do this repeatedly in the media, it's because nobody's listening to them on the inside.
Just quickly before we go to the calls, obviously one of the biggest questions is that at the moment we've had the Green Party going through its own transformation, and Zach Polanski has moved the party to a much more sort of left populist party, moved it economically, arguably, to the left. In which case, the argument is then, what's the point? Why don't you just go and join them?
I don't think that's a very democratic argument, saying that we've got one left party with a very popular leader
What's the
who's doing
difference
really well.
between
We're a socialist party. We are not shying away about talking
You're
about...
further to the left than Polanski.
I would say that being an explicitly socialist party is a genuine left-wing alternative to what is being offered by the status quo. And of course, on many questions, when it comes to NATO, when it comes to our relationship with Israel, when we're talking about not overseeing austerity in local governments, we have different positions.
What's the biggest difference, you think, between you and Polanski?
I think me and Zach have a lot in common, but fundamentally, I don't think we should have any diplomatic relations with Israel. I see Israel as...
What does that mean in practice? We never talked to them about anything.
Well, we have an ambassador and we have an embassy.
Should we close that down?
Yes, and we should expel the ambassador. And even on questions to do with the cultural boycotts that people are talking about.
What about British citizens who live in Israel and need consular support, people who visit there and so on? Just practically, that's going to be...
I think we can work those issues out, but fundamentally, it's about having diplomatic relations with a state that is on trial for genocide at the ICJ.
Whilst all of that is true, I think Zara exudes this very sort of idealistic, naive vibe. And, you know, your new party doing things differently does not then fundamentally change how the world order and geopolitics and the style of negotiation is set up. It doesn't do that. And so that's why Zach Polanski will maintain diplomatic relations. What you could be talking about is within the system where we have to manage these geopolitical interests and those committing genocide, we will be heavily applying sanctions. Like, just use some different language, make it make sense in practical terms, given the sort of current system that we're in. It's like, this is a system with all of the moving parts in it, and not all of them work, especially when people are committing genocide, right? And then you're saying it's just not working, but you've got to like get in there. Okay, people are used to this. You're just giving them a whole other paradigm, but they've not jumped planets. They're still over here on this planet. It's a mental planet as well. Remember, people are used to things being a certain way. The majority of them can't just jump planets. Some of us can, but the majority can't. That's why you don't need my vote. You need their vote. But what I'm saying is the majority cannot just jump planets or paradigms. I wonder what people within sort of your party who disagree with her are saying, and would they agree with me?
Whose leaders have active ICC arrest warrants, who have committed war crimes on televised, and we've all seen it for the past 2 years.
Tyler is in Leeds, who has the first question. Tyler, you're through to Zara. Hello, you're through to Zara. What's your question, Tyler?
My question is, what is your opinion on regional devolved mayors, and will you be standing any candidates in the May elections?
So, Zara, are you going to be standing any candidates in the regional mayoralties in May?
I think it's important that we have candidates running in local government and in regional elections, and where your party candidates can't stand for whatever reasons, I think we should support other candidates whose manifestos and whose politics we support. I think regional mayors are really important. I think local government and at the regional level, we can make a real difference to people's lives, whether it comes to house building, when it comes to transport systems. I think that's where people can really experience the benefit of socialist politics.
Okay, Tyler, grateful to you. Michael is in Kilburn in North London. Michael, you're through to Zara.
Hi, this is Zara. So I signed up to your mailing list. I've always voted Labour, and then just watching your whole omnishambles of how you handled, the launch of the party and your inviting. So now I've moved to the Greens because they seem to be more together. So how do you think you'd get the goodwill back from people like me that were willing to join you now that you've been acting like a big baby?
Firstly, I'd like to...
Now that you've been acting like a big baby. Hello, those who are on the live stream. Hello, Hashim. How are you doing?
Say I'm sorry for what you've seen over the past few weeks. It was never my intention for things to play out this way. In particular, like I said to Lewis earlier, this has been about member democracy being at the heart of the party that we're building. So members aren't treated like volunteers who just knock on doors, who just stuff letterboxes with leaflets, who just raise money, but are actively deciding the governance of the party, the structure of the party, the policies of the party, and you select your candidates through one member, one vote, open selections, recalls, and mandatory reselection. I would say that we have a lot of work to do to rebuild trust over what's happened, but we have had our founding conference. We do have 55,000 members. We will be standing candidates in the local elections, and we've got a lot of work to do, and I look forward to doing that.
Michael, does that convince you?
No, because I just wonder how does she regret the way that she did all of this? Because, you know,
To be fair, it's not just her, is it, Michael? I mean, it's been...
But it is a fair question, and it may not just be her. Thanks. It's tea, actually. Beef more. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that handle. It sounds rude. It's not just her, but she's one of the vocal ones. So, of course, they're going to attribute it to her.
been a bit of a
yeah, all of them. I know all of them, but they had hundreds of thousands of people that were willing to sign up, and now they've all been leaked to another party, and we've been forced down that.
There are a lot of people disappointed. I mean, Michael's probably speaking for a lot of people, Zara, right? You'll agree,
Yeah,
who
I
were
completely
disappointed.
understand. I completely understand what Michael is saying, and I know that 800,000 people initially expressed an interest in the party that we're building. What I would say is that not all of those people have gone away. Yes, some have joined other parties, but many people are waiting and watching. Many of them are ready to join and be involved, and obviously we've got to rebuild that trust, and the proof will be in the pudding.
Michael, grateful to you. Text.
How are you rebuilding trust, though? If you've been listening to me ranting for the first half of this stream, I've been ranting, stopping every 30 seconds, just shelling, okay? How is this rebuilding trust? It ain't. It's just not. Imagine you're starting out and you're having to rebuild trust. You're supposed to build trust. You shouldn't be in the situation of having to rebuild it. You just came together in the relationship. You already peed them off, and it's just not good.
Question here from Josh. My question for Zara is, how is your party polling in her own seat in Coventry South? Will she retain her seat, or is she going to go for another one at the next election? Are you going to fight Coventry South, Zara?
So I haven't seen any polling for Coventry South, but I am dedicated to my constituency. I work very hard locally, and my team does, obviously, to serve the people of Coventry South. And
Will you definitely stand there again?
So that's the plan.
That's the plan.
And it's in 2029. And what I will also say is that there are other options, including mayoralties, that I think will be worth considering, especially when you look at how you can immediately make people's lives better. So there are options, and I haven't decided, but my priority is Coventry South.
Okay. Stan is in Caterham in Surrey. Stan, you're through to Zara.
Hi, Zara.
Hiya.
My question is, do you have an example of a country where the economic policies you were proposing was a great success?
Thank you. What I've been talking about when we talk about nationalising the commanding heights of the economy, that's energy, rail, mail, telecoms, all the things that actually poll really popular amongst the British public. Those are commonplace across the world. You see examples in Ireland, you see them in Norway, you see them in Switzerland, where there are state-owned railways, as well as other key utilities and infrastructure. I think it's also important to look at alternatives in terms of democratic ownership in the economy, and you see those examples also in the Asian tigers and Latin America in particular. I think we have to be looking at workers' cooperatives. We have to be looking at community land trusts. We have to be looking at alternative forms of banking in forms of a public bank. And we've got those forms also in Germany. So there are examples that we can look at across the world. And obviously the state of the economy and the levels of inequality in this country are so severe that we need radical solutions.
So that, I think Stan's gone actually. Let's turn to, because we haven't got much time. Mujahid, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, who's in Streatham. Mujahid.
It's Mujahid, yeah.
Yeah, Mujahid really goes for it. We'll listen to that in a second. But radical policies. Okay, so if you're going to go radical, again, just comms failures left, right, and centre. If that's what your party is and you want radical change and you'll be doing things radically, like your party just does not, it's just, again, can I go millennial? It's just not giving radical. Your party is giving spoken word poetry with cups of chai. It's not giving, oh God. Waz, you are hilarious. Can I just put that screen? Can I just put that comment up on the screen? Support the channel. Hashim, Waz, Serena's second stream of the year. Greetings. Hilarious. I've actually done a few in the past week. Okay, she's back.
Okay, apologies.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Assalamu alaikum to Zara.
salam.
Just to say, if 90% of the new party were to repeatedly insist that Jeremy Corbyn were to lead your party, would you be agreeable with that?
Of course, this is about member democracy, and I know politicians say things, and sometimes, if not most times, they don't usually mean it. But genuinely, if members voted for a sole leadership, and then if members voted for Jeremy, I would completely support that. This is about members running the party and no one else.
You happy with that?
People, if you were to let people know that, I think a lot of people would come back to you. I don't think enough
But
people
the members
know
have
that.
voted in the way they have, haven't they?
So Mujahid, we had a conference in Liverpool last week, and the members voted, and this was open to all members, including through online voting, between sole leadership and collective leadership, and the members chose collective leadership up until 2027.
Mujahid, thank you. One last question. I think we've got time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yusuf, as well. I've just returned. Otherwise, this was like a daily, almost weekly. No, this was a weekly, almost daily thing when I first started the channel just over a year ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. So I appreciate you tuning in. Listen. There are questions. There are valid questions coming from these people, and I keep hearing, it's what the members want. It's what the members want. But the members want you to just figure out your behind the scenes and just zip with all of these petty remarks. And there's always something. There is always something. You must, like I said at the top of this live, you must know optics. You know how the political game works. You know this is going to damage you. You can't be that naive and idealistic.
From Carl in Liverpool. Carl, you're through to Zara.
Hi, Todd. You haven't had the smoothest of starts, Zara. Do you think you're doing much to allay public concerns when you kind of air the party's dirty laundry in public? You're talking about your disagreements with four people who hold public office being among the party's governance. You're talking about your name having been put to the members.
Dirty laundry is the allegation.
Well, firstly, as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to say that maybe Liverpool start to this football season is something I can relate to in terms of not the best start.
Is he suggesting you're the Mo Salah of this outfit? Look at that, me making a contemporary football reference. That does not happen every day, LBC listeners.
Mo Salah has not been performing very well.
Okay.
But maybe we can improve that post-Christmas. What I would say is that the disagreements that we have had within the party have been about democracy. There have been tactics that I've called out, including leaks to the right-wing press, legal threats, sabotage, and that is...
You've got to stop with this laundry list. He has just said airing dirty laundry. And what do? You have your laundry list prepared. You have to stop.
Is unacceptable in any working environment.
Of course it's unacceptable, but it's
I will not tolerate that. The movement will not tolerate.
The movement doesn't all think the same. The movement doesn't think that the movement may think that what you're saying is absolutely right, but you're not inspiring confidence. So can you just figure this out? You're not an actual family, you're a political party. So you don't have to be transparent about all of your disagreements. You just don't. Oh, Lord, Serena, blood pressure.
Tolerate that, and the members have shown over the course of the weekend that they will not tolerate that either. There are lessons definitely to learn from what has happened, but I am committed, Jeremy is committed to building an inclusive party that goes out into our communities, that uses community organising as the vehicle.
Question to everyone on the live in the comments. Do you think she should join the Greens?
To build power, but also is a strong electoral vehicle presenting a radically socialist vision to the country.
Carl, grateful to you.
She won't join the Greens over the Israel issue. In her mind, it's an Israel issue.
That's what goes to Leon. And Zara, if you could do this in 30 seconds, I'd be grateful to you. Please tell Zara that she has given me hope, and I thought there was a chance, but she needs to wake up and realise your party is done. I don't need a protest party. I need a party that can affect proper change. What I want her to do is go and join the Greens. and that will make the biggest difference. Is there any chance of that at
I
all,
will not
Zara?
be joining the Greens.
In any circumstances?
I'm very committed to building this party, and we already have had our founding conference. We have 55,000 members. We have over 190 proto branches. We have people up and down the country, including in Scotland and Wales, who are very committed.
No Green, never Green.
I am a very committed Your Party MP, and I'm very proud of that.
You'll never join the Green Party.
I'm very committed to Your Party, and I will not be joining the Greens.
Zarah Sultana.
Okay, so the thing is, right? The thing is, okay, so let's be kind. Where can we be kind? Providing we're we're allowed to vote. That remains to be seen. Good point. Good point, Beef. I'll call you Beefy. Let's see. Comments. Thank you. Listen, okay, let's just sort of give her credit where it's due. Passionate, consistent. Where'd you get the stamina from? I saw Zara speak at a regional event for your party recently. Is very is very thorough and able, like doesn't flinch, is able to take on criticism, pushback, and then comes back with, with kind of competence, and has all the lines ready. It's like she's just got everything rehearsed. The only problem is there is like when you are so rehearsed and you've just got the lines going over and over, it just shows that there's not much space for reflection because you're just out there giving it large, whereas you're not having any time to reflect and perhaps not thinking strategically enough. So yes, you're right. There's too many small parties. If they had sense, they would join forces. But everyone forgets. Everyone forgets or conveniently sort of, or again naively, just thinks, oh, everyone's trying to do the right thing. No, everyone wants power and influence. It's not just about them wanting a democratic party and to care about your civil liberties and to make it a more just society. If they cared, they would just come together, but they're not doing that. Because it's a grabby race for power and influence, and everyone's just trying to grab it, and it's dirty. Politics is dirty. It's not like about ideals, unfortunately. That makes for nice sort of social media captions. It makes for nice headlines. It makes for a bit of sort of a nice sound bite. But look, Farage won and is winning support on a single issue, mainly a single issue, and that is this so-called English British identity. And then that has tentacles, and it emboldens people enough. How much he will deliver if he gets into power, how much he will deliver based on those promises is up for debate, because we all know that when political parties are campaigning, it's very different when they're in government. So we know that one thing. But again, you've got to look at how politics is won. There's got to be a very clear vision that's going to be appealing across the board. Just a very clear vision. Do you remember education? Do you remember things are only going to get better? And now it's like, stop the boats, and it's like, protect our women. It's like, that's unfortunate. Like, unless you're about to take out every tech company and every device from a voter's hands, unless you're going to do that, you're not going to be able to suddenly radically change this political system, because people want slogans. And unfortunately, the majority of voters that you should be appealing to are the ones who care about slogans, who tie themselves up very tightly, their identities, with these movements online. They don't come off their devices much. And if they are, then they may still be within offline communities that are very stuck in their sort of values. And those values are appealed to with slogans, with single issues. Okay, so when you're proposing a radical change, and someone say, but Serena, they've got time. You ain't got time. Just because, according to the schedule, right, there is no imminent election. Well, then why is Reform behaving as if there is? Why is Zach Polanski behaving as if there is an imminent election? So you have to get with the right kind of pace. Beefy says, I doubt, sorry, do you mind if I call you Beefy? I doubt that Corbyn will win even one seat at the next general election. So it's just so naive. Waz says, feckless flunky, Farage, you call him. No one can deliver on immigration. Corbyn had a shot and failed. It's just really frustrating to see, and it's a wasted opportunity. At the moment, the only political parties / leaders that are really kind of providing a vision and are being quite discriminate about it. You've got, I know, surprisingly, Kemi Badenoch for the Tories. You've got Farage for Reform, and you've got Zach Polanski for the Greens. That's not enough to compete with all of those who would normally vote Tory, Conservative, and who will now vote for Reform. That's not enough. So then the three options Labour ain't even on the left, but I think you know what I'm getting at. The three options, out of all of them, only Zach Polanski's got his act together, and it's still not enough. So it's man, so many wasted opportunities. Look at the opportunities right now. Farage is still being dragged for what he did and said, allegedly, at Dulwich College when he was a young person or young adult. I don't know exactly what his age was. So currently, Nigel Farage is getting dragged for his Dulwich College actions. He's getting dragged for that. Zach Polanski makes a comment about not wanting to wipe bums. He's talking about care workers. The government's doing the government thing. Kemi Badenoch is inspiring AI slop on X, where they've got her rapping drill in opposition because she's shelling when she's dealing with the Chancellor. And then you've got your party still like, oh, what an awful name. So it's like, forget your politics, and forget what your preference is. Out of Tories, Labour, Greens, your party, Reform, and put Lib Dems in there as well. Out of all of those, out of the six, I'm just arbitrarily taking those six. Out of those six, okay, who is the most impressive and playing the political game right? I don't do acronyms too much, so NFAK means, don't make me Google, just spell it out in the comments. So out of those six, you tell me who is the most impressive right now and who's playing the game right. Because your party, you're not. I'll be winding up the stream soon, but your party, you're not. I really want to know from you, so jump in the comments. Out of all of those that I've listed, who's sort of understanding how to play the game? Nigel Farage has sort of been obsessed with the media for a long time. He's never been in power, but he's been obsessed with the media for a long time. And so he understands how the game has to be played. Zach Polanski has been a creative person, a sort of independent person, hasn't always been in politics. And so he brings a little bit he brings oh wow he brings a little bit more substance. He's a bit more impressive. Okay, listen, thank you, Yusuf. Yusuf said NFAK of political discussions, and then I asked for him to explain what that acronym was. Okay, it's Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, who is an absolute legend. And so what he's saying is this is top tier. And if praise, thank you for the praise. If this is top tier, then it means if you haven't subbed, you need to. And there are other videos and streams from the days prior to today that are available and you can check them out. So I want your answers in the comments. I have to wind this up because I have to study middle-aged postgraduate study on a Sunday night and then parent my teenager to get them to school in one piece without being a degenerate cretin. So I'm going to wind this up. I really appreciate you so much. To be watching, your time and attention is excellent. There'll be another one tomorrow. There's one every day this entire week. So listen, I wasn't just saying it, okay? I wasn't just saying it. There's actually been a video / stream every day this past week. So do tune in, subscribe, ring that bell, okay? And I'll see you in the next one. But I'm waiting for your answers. Waz says none of them. I suspect the UK won't vote for the two main parties at the next election. Ooh, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. I appreciate you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one.